Alright, let me just check Twitter real quick before I record this month's JoJolion review. Really good chapter this month, chapter 82, I liked it a lot. Anyways, what's the community up to today? Okay, porn, more porn. La Squadra porn, nice, same as usual. Wait, what's this? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Last Survivor, announced by Bandai Namco. This must be a new game, 3D models? This actually looks pretty good. Let's check this website. A Stand Battle Royale. Bandai Namco has announced JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Last Survivor releasing next year, exclusively in Japanese arcades. Okay, so a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Battle Royale game. We truly are in the darkest timeline. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt though, and I probably won't even get to play it unless the game gets localized and has a console release, but let's check out the trailer. Let's see what this game's all about.
Okay, open the game.
Okay, so now with that whole thing out of the way, we can actually get on to this month's chapter review. So hello everyone, and welcome to JoJolion Chapter 82 review and discussion. This month's chapter is titled Equivalent Exchange in the University Hospital Part 5. So let's get into this month's chapter and the last chapter of JoJolion for 2018, starting with the cover page. Very nice cover page this month. It seems to have a Western aesthetic. On the top you have JoJolion, and then 2019, looks like Araki's already excited to get into the new year, and it's in a Western font, and there's also a massive hog or boar in the middle of the screen. In the background we have a nice portrait of Josuke and Yasuo, and in the middle it's just like an amalgamation of logos. The background logo is a shield, which I don't really recognize. It could be the logo for the university hospital, but on the left you have like the most generic JoJo logo you could ever imagine, just a star in JoJo, and then on the right is the Lucky Hand, or the Lucky Land Communications logo, Araki's company, and on top Morioh symbol. So as for the hog or boar or pig, whatever you would refer to it as, I don't really know what this represents. In different cultures, the pig or the boar can represent different things. Sometimes it's laziness, sometimes it's greed and wealth. And in this case, if I had to guess why there is a hog in the middle of a JoJolion cover page, I would say it's to represent wealth or greed, as in the current arc right now, we have the rock humans who are in control of the university hospital. They extort people, whether it's intentionally or not. They have people coming back and racking up massive bills as they give them the rokakaka as medicine. So I think that's what it represents. Let me know what you guys think a massive hog is doing in the middle of a JoJolion page. But now onto the actual chapter. So we're picking up right where we left off. Yasuo uses her Paisley Park hacker woman ability to enter the room where all the rokakakas are stored. And also, I think I'm going to start referring to the rokakakas as just rokas, because it can be like really tedious saying rokakaka like 50 times a video. So rokas, don't complain if you hear me say rokas, it's way easier. So we see all of the rokas, and in the next page, for some reason, all of their shapes completely change. I doubt this has any relevance to the plot, it's just Araki drawing differently, but every time we've seen a roka, it's always had like a pear shape, or it looks most like a dragon fruit, that's what they're inspired by, so it's never a perfect circle though, they're always misshapen, and of course they have the rock-like spikes coming out of them, but for some reason, in this next page, all of the rokas are perfectly circular, which is, it was jarring the first time I saw it, because I was like, wait, in the last page they were misshapen, but now they're just completely perfectly round and circular and look completely different from all the other ones. But whatever, Araki wanted to draw circles this month. So Yasuo has the idea to, we need to take the rokakakas, we need to get all of them out of here. We don't want the rock humans to have them any longer. And while Yasuo is looking around the room, she notices more things that are in this roka room. She notices that there's vials on the walls, there's animals that are being tested on, but the one thing she can't manage to find is the branch. She believes that Wu Tomaki took the branch from the Higashikata estate and brought it back here. And you would think that the new branch would be in this room with all the rokakakas, but she can't seem to find it. So she's like, I've really got to meet back up with Mamazuku. He'll be able to find it if it's here. And Mitsuba, obviously not so focused on what Yasuo is doing, but more so is staring at the rokakakas as she wants to use one, because we all know that she lost her baby. She managed to put the baby's hands back into her body, and what she was trying to do most in the last chapter was enter this room and eat a roka so she could perform another equivalent exchange and remove something from her body in order to potentially get her unborn baby back. And that's exactly what she does. It's always a big moment whenever we see a character bite into a roka, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and it creates like a lot of tension. We've never really seen a main character bite into one of these before in like a few years. Or at least after Josuke's transformation. So seeing Mitsuba bite this was really interesting and really cool, seeing like what's going to happen to her. And as she bites into it, and also there's like a huge risk to it. Like Mitsuba, she has no idea what she could lose. As was like really a big part of last chapter, is that the reason why Wu Tomiki is able to give people the roka as medicine is because he can stop it getting to their brain. So there's a huge risk that when you eat this, you could go completely brain dead. But Mitsuba is willing to risk her life for her unborn child, which is really powerful, and it's really awesome that her character would do something like that. I like Mitsuba a lot. She's a fun character. Not a lot of fun happening lately, but I like having her in the story. So as she goes to bite into one, there's rocks that are coming off the branches. It's coming out of the fruit. And this bastard, Wu Tomiki, is back from the elevator, and he managed to get into this room before them and completely break his body down and sort of hide inside all of the Rokakaka fruits, because he knew Mitsuba was going to eat one, and this was his chance to attack. And with that, he gets inside her body. He starts combining with her, molecular level, so he's able to control her. So yeah, it said last chapter that Wu Tomiki wasn't able to freely move himself, but when he enters someone's body, he can control them by fusing with all the cells inside their body. So he is now controlling Mitsuba, but he doesn't seem to be able to control what she says. He can only control her actions. And he's also able to use her stand somehow, so I guess his chemicals got up into her brain and is able to access all of that. But if you're accessing someone's brain, couldn't you also control what they say? Whatever, I'm not going to question it. So Mitsuba, being controlled by Wu Tomiki, is able to summon Awaken 3 Leaves and attacks Yasuo, pushes her up against the wall, and shit is getting crazy right now. And like, this one panel right here had me realizing how weird Mitsuba's design is. Like, she wears a see-through dress and you can just see her underwear. I guess it's fashion. I really like her design. I even commissioned one of my friends, Abby, to draw her. I'll put it on screen right now. Links in the description to Abby/Sendel's Twitter. I did a commission for her to draw Mitsuba because this character has a really cool design, and it's cool seeing her back into the story again with a new design compared to what we first saw her as. So, okay, I'm getting off topic, so back onto the fight. So while Wu Tomiki is controlling Mitsuba, when he pushes Yasuo into the wall, he pushes her into the same wall that she noticed earlier that had all of the vials on it. And what those vials contained were controlled illnesses. There's hepatitis and influenza. And how Tomiki uses Awaken 3 Leaves is that he puts the arrows onto the like broken up vials that contain just a liquid, I guess, which is a sickness, and then he's shooting it at Yasuo, trying to infect her with a flu. And in the next portion of this fight, things start to get very bizarre, as Wu reforms himself inside of Mitsuba's mouth, and he begins to talk to Yasuo, and he's explaining what he's doing to her, how he's using Mitsuba's stand with the illness to try to infect her with a cold. And it's just like the creepiest panels. I love how Wu can't control what Mitsuba says, but he can reform himself inside her mouth and talk through his own mouth. So really creepy looking panels. All you Vor guys will love this. And it reminds me of Vanilla Ice seeing a character inside another character, but this is just really damn creepy, dude. But while Tomiki is monologuing off at Yasuo, he reveals a very important piece of information. He says that the person who built the lab that they're in right now and the person who was researching the Rokakaka before him was Holly Joestar, and she is also hospitalized at the TG University Hospital. So before, like 3 or 4 chapter reviews ago, I said that I didn't think that this hospital was the same one that Holly was at, mostly because from their designs they look different and they were also referred to by different names. Originally, the hospital that Holly was at was referred to as the Morioh Hospital, but this one was exclusively referred to as the TG University Hospital. But now it's confirmed that Holly is in this hospital, which it pisses me off, honestly, because they're called different things, they look different, although it has been like 7 years since Araki drew the beginning chapters of JoJolion, so I'll give him a pass on that one. But Josuke had never mentioned anything when they were saying we need to go to this hospital. Josuke never said anything, no inner monologue like, oh, that's the same hospital that Holly's at. It's controlled by rock humans. This could be bad. And before, when he was outside the hospital, no mention of Holly. Nothing. He never said he was going to go check on her. Nothing at all. And like Josuke's main motivation for the part right now is to heal Holly. And speaking of healing Holly, before we assumed that Holly's condition was caused by the rock disease. Obviously, the Joestar / Higashikata family was cursed by the rock disease, and the firstborn male of every generation would be inflicted by this disease. It happened with Jobin, it happened with Narisuke. Yeah, it happened with Narisuke, and we were like, why is Holly in this condition right now? It had the same thing, like eroding away at her brain, and also her hands were turning to stone, so we were confused why a woman would be inflicted by the rock disease, because it was only the first... Is it the firstborn? Oh gosh, I should know this. I'm the one making the video. I think it's the firstborn male. I don't know if gender has to do with it, but it could just be the firstborn child. So whichever one it was, we all assumed that Holly was being affected by the rock disease. But now it looks like that the reason why she's being affected in her brain and everything is because maybe she was doing research and actually doing experiments on herself, and that led her to develop the disease that she has, or just being affected by the Rokakaka. Because also Wutomaki said that if I'm not using my stand ability, it will get to your brain and it could cause like permanent brain damage, and that's the exact thing that's seen happened with Holly. So I guess it's like pseudo confirmed that Holly's no longer being affected by the rock disease like we thought, and the reason why she's in her condition is because she did self-experimentation with the Rokakakas. So that's really good information to have, and it brings Holly more involved in the plot, and we get some things explained about her. But back onto the fight right here, Wu sends out some arrows at Yasuo, and Yasuo pulls out her greatest stand, which is the duct tape. She still has it. She pulls it out, and the arrows go onto the tape, and she does this really cool move where she redirects the arrows onto Mitsuba, sticks them onto her face, uses Paisley Park to show an x-ray vision of Mitsuba's face, and then shoots Wu out of her body. And yeah, because the arrows can redirect things and like move things in a different direction, so it sucks out all of Wu, but it does slam Mitsuba into the wall. Okay, so I just had to take a short break to charge my camera's battery, and holy shit, my hair is frizzy today. I look terrible. But anyways, let's finish up this chapter. So when Mitsuba is thrown into the wall, Wutomaki is removed from her body, and he continues to monologue, as he likes to do. And he begins to send out what looks like is going to be his final attack. He completely disassembles most of his body, and he mixes it with the Rokas, and he completely breaks those apart, and he sends them at Yasuo and Mitsuba, and they just get barraged by parts of Wu's body, as well as pieces of the Rokakaka, and he's like, here, eat on this, like, eat this Rokakaka, betting on the chance that it will affect their brain or remove something from them where he'll be able to win the fight. And bubbles come out of nowhere, boom! All of the pieces of the rocks that are being attacked, that are being shot at Yasuo and Mitsuba, bubbles appear, and we see this coolest panel of Soft and Wet in Josuke. We see like a silhouette of Soft and Wet with its finger out, just completely blacked out, and then we see at the bottom Josuke and Soft and Wet are here. So PogChamp boys, Josuke's back into the story, and he's here to save Yasuo and Mitsuba against Wu Tomaki. Although I think they could have finished him off by themselves somehow. The problem with Yasuo and Mitsuba against Tomaki is that they're able to defeat him like momentarily, but they weren't able to deliver like the finishing blow. They got away from him in the elevator and they taped him down, but they didn't really have the capabilities or the abilities through their stands to actually destroy him, because every time they got an attack off, he would just disassemble himself. So what Josuke does is that with his bubbles that he shot out at the rocks, he mixed it with cement that he found that was also broken in the room and opened up. So when Wu tried to completely like form back, he just turned into like a moldy rock. And it reminded me a lot of Angelo from Diamond is Unbreakable, how the original Josuke fused him together with a rock and he was just giant, like a rock person before rock people, but you know what I mean. And in this chapter, Wu Tomaki is destroyed. I believe this is going to be the end of him, retired. He is just like a pile of cement, and he's not able to reform himself because when he reformed, it was mostly cement, and he looks like Angelo now from part 4. And it looks like that's gonna wrap up the fight against Tomoki. It only took 5 chapters, but Josuke was finally able to defeat this stand user. And this was really long just for a minor villain fight, but I guess this was pretty important. It gave us more insight on Holly, and he was the introduction of the scientist slash doctor members of the Rock Humans, although I think Urban Gorilla was also a doctor. We just didn't see him while he was actually doctoring, I guess. So, well, Mamazuku and Josuke finally get to Yasuo. Finally, after all this time, they were in the same building for the past 6 months. 6 months real time. It was probably only like a half hour in JoJolion time. They finally got to each other, and I love how Mamazuku uses doggy style here. He decides to destroy all the Rokakakas, like not even take them for investigation or store them somewhere safe. He's just like, fuck this place, sends out doggy style and just shoots a bunch of strain out at all of them and destroys the entire place. And his main goal right now is to find the branch. So he's like, we got to find the branch. But Yasuo was like, I don't think it's here. I looked and I don't think the branch is here. And we get some moody Mamazuku talking back to Yasuo. He's like, how is someone like you so sure that it's not here? And he's like, you'd have no idea what you're talking about. But Yasuo explains that what she knows so far about the branch. She said that she knows for sure that Tomoki was in the ambulance that took the branch that they thought was the real one, and it should be at the hospital. But she also explains that Tomoki didn't have the branch. He was looking for it, and he planned on using Mitsuba's body to get into the estate. So that was sort of why he was like so tight with Mitsuba, and he was like her personal doctor, because he was trying to get inside her body and be able to go with her to the Higashikata estate and find the branch that way. So Yasuo explains that everyone thought that the branch was here, but Wu Tomoki was looking for the branch, so it's not here. And everyone's like, how could this possibly be? Who could have the branch? And she's like, maybe we were tricked. Maybe they made the branch look like something it wasn't. And Josuke has like an epiphany and he says, Yasuo, who do you think that might be? Both of them obviously were involved in the arc against Tsurugi, and they know that his stand is able to change your perception of things. So Josuke right now knows his number one suspect is Tsurugi. And that's going to be the setup for the next arc, as the whole cast is probably in the next chapter either going to do some more stuff at the hospital. God hope they don't run into another stand user at this place. Hopefully they can get back and interact with the members of the Higashikata family, and we can get sort of the climax of them confronting Tsurugi and Jobin and like saying, we know that you guys have the branch, and maybe a fight happening between some of the characters that have been considered the main cast as of right now. Like, just imagine a fight against like Josuke and Jobin. That'd be insane. But before this chapter ends, I don't know if you guys forgot or not, but if you remember in the beginning of the chapter, Mitsuba ate a Roka and she didn't see any effects so far, but at the end of the chapter right now, we see that her operation was successful and she lost her nose. Her nose has turned to stone. And it looks really weird at first. It reminds me of the Cinderella arc from part 4 when Yukako, that's her name, when Yukako went and she was getting her different eyes and like her face was broke up into like segments. That's kind of what it looks like, although this design may be prone to change, as Araki is always ever changing his character designs and some of the things on their bodies. But Mitsuba now has a permanent rock nose, and it looks like your initial reaction is kind of sad, like, oh, that's her face now. But when you see the smile on her face, it's really happy, actually. Mitsuba is so grateful that she's still alive and she still has her baby. So the equivalent exchange was successful. She has her baby back, and now she doesn't have a nose. I wonder if her rock nose still works, if she's able to smell with it. But honestly, I think this makes her look like even cuter. I don't know, just something about the rock nose is just really endearing, and it just like adds more to her innocence, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but she looks really cute like this, and it's going to be interesting seeing a permanent change for a character's design. I always love in series when you see the character grow over time, and all the things that happen to them, you can see that visually by looking at them. So I like this a lot, how Mitsuba for the rest of the part, this is how she's going to look like, and it's always going to remind us of what she's been through, this fight, and how she still has her baby. So that's really cool. I'll love to see Jobin's reaction. And speaking of Jobin and Mitsuba's reaction, they're still married, I believe. They're still married. They have their son, Tsurugi. And when we see them finally meet up together, like, how long has it been since Jobin and Mitsuba have even seen each other, and what's Jobin's reaction going to be to her having a rock nose? And it's also kind of cute because Jobin has scars from when he was infected by his rock disease. The lines on his face are scars from that, and now Mitsuba has a giant scar on her face, and yeah, they both have rock scars now, which is cute. And that concludes this month's chapter. That's the last thing we see. A whole bunch of cool stuff happened here. Mitsuba going under another equivalent exchange, as well as the fight against Tomoki concluding, and the setup for the next arc, which is going to be all these people together going back to the Higashikata family and investigating where the branch is. And I almost forgot to mention this. What the hell happened to Yasuo's ex-boyfriend? This dude was introduced at the end of the last chapter, and we thought he might have been a big deal. He had a really unique design, which led us to believe that he would probably be like a new ally or some sort of important character in this the rest of JoJolion, but no, Yasuo's ex-boyfriend is not in this chapter at all, and there was like weird tension at the end of chapter 81, thinking like it was sort of ambiguous, like who is Yasuo's ex-boyfriend going to be, stan user or not, friend or foe? But he's just gone. He is not in this at all. I guess the interaction between them, it was just like, hey, you're Yasuo's ex-boyfriend. Where's Yasuo? Yasuo's on the 3rd floor. All right, see ya. That's it. So I don't know. I believe his name was Toru. I think that was his name. I totally don't even remember, but maybe he will come back or not. Maybe he's forgotten. I assume he'll come back at some point. But Yasuo's ex-boyfriend, I thought he would be in this next chapter, but not at all. Overall, this chapter was very good. I really loved the development for Mitsuba. She got her baby back, which is very happy to see that. And just that final page of her smiling with her rock nose is just like the most wholesome shit I've ever seen. Mitsuba's great. So I think that's going to conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching JoJolion Chapter 82 review, and I can't wait to see what 2019 has in store for JoJo. If I don't talk to you guys by Christmas or New Year's, have a great Christmas. Enjoy New Year's, guys, and I'll probably have a video out by the end of 2018, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.